Friday, November 18, 2016. Welcome to this edition of the Government News Brief. In the news, the oil situation on the world market presents a chance for Guyana to develop its oil and gas sector. Residents of the remote village of Korsaima Region 1 will soon have access to adequate education and health facilities, and the public telecommunications sector to up its game in 2017. Stay tuned for the details. Thank you for staying with us. I am Renetta LaFleur, and now for the details. The prevailing oil situation on the world market presents the chance for Guyana to sustainably develop its oil and gas sector. Details in this Tiffany Rodius report.
The relatively low oil prices gives Guyana the chance to wisely and prudently develop the oil and gas sector, Minister of Natural Resources Raphael Trotman notes.
We have entered the petroleum industry at a conservative and watchful time when literally every cent matters more than ever. Our focus, therefore, is directed into deliberate considerations of the possible returns on such an investment and how to maximize them for the benefit of our nation.
International crude oil prices are trading just around $50 a barrel. Minister Trotman says consideration has to be placed on how to stretch Guyana's dollars to ensure effective management of the emerging sector.
The government has embarked on a process of resource management that will recalibrate our performance and change our trajectory to better align our nation with her.
Last year, Guyana found commercial quantities of oil off the Stabroek Block, which is currently being explored by oil companies such as Exxon, Hess Corp, and others. The Ministry of Natural Resources has been working with international partners to develop the sector in time for producing the high-quality crude oil. For the Government News Brief, I'm Tiffany Rodius.
The provision of health and education is on the front burner for residents of the Indigenous Village of Korsaima Region 1. Isaiah Braffett has this report.
Minister in the Ministry of Indigenous Peoples Affairs Valerie Garidalo is set to make her next visit to the 70-year-old village of Korsaima before Christmas. On the minister's first trip to the Waro village, the residents indicated their interest in learning the English language. Minister Lowe says the request was discussed with Minister of Education Dr. Rupert Rupnarain, who assured of his support for the venture. The only hindrance, Minister Garida Lowe says, is identifying a bilingual person who is willing to go into the village and spend a few weeks teaching the language. Additionally, Minister Lowe points that Minister within the Ministry of Public Health, Karen Cummins, is keen on getting the residents vaccinated.
I spoke to Minister Thornton, but Minister Karen Cummins has promised that the next time I'm going up there, and that will be before Christmas, she wants to take up some vaccines so that they can be vaccinated and so on. So there is movement to make their lives better, and we wouldn't stop until it's better.
For the year 2017, Minister Garida Lowe says that due to the remoteness of the village, discussions will take place about erecting a health hut.
To make sure that they get the benefits they deserve, because of course it's very far to come out, the creek, very far to come out, let's say, with a patient, a mother, pregnant mother, and so on. So I think after Minister Karen goes in and so on, perhaps we can discuss like a little health hut, a health post, and of course someone from the community could go and stay there.
Getting a Korsaima resident registered is also important. The minister asked that discussions were held with the Minister of Citizenship on issuing birth certificates to the residents. Isaiah Braffett for the Government News Brief.
Ecotourism in the hinterland has the potential to transform Guyana. As part of the effort to make this a reality, emphasis will be placed on advancing this form of tourism in the new year. Here is more.
The Director General of Tourism, Donald Sinclair, says previously the focus on ecotourism has been limited. He explains that ecotourism is the fastest growing segment of the tourism industry because of Guyana's diverse flora, fauna, beautiful waterfalls, rivers, and creeks.
Because we recognize that essentially our tourism product is nature-based, nature, culture, adventure. It will be a means of generating revenue for small communities, generating money for persons in remote locations. Once they're trained, once there is a product that is market ready, a product that is viable, and it will be a means of keeping Guyana as a green destination, keeping Guyana as a destination that offers nature to visitors who are looking for that kind of experience.
For ecotourism to prosper in Guyana, more specifically in the hinterland, there needs to be overarching environmental policies, ethics, and promotion of genuine indigenous cultures, the Director General explains.
Given the rate at which deforestation is taking place in other countries, especially given the way in which there seems to be a global anxiety about what is happening with nature, a global concern about the disappearance of species, we in this part of the world, this Amazon corner, can, from a tourism standpoint, highlight and promote that aspect of our destination, the green aspect, the birds, the wildlife, biodiversity, for our advantage without destroying that product, without destroying those very resources.
The National Protected Area System has been implemented to protect Guyana's tourism products, while the tourism policy will be completed soon. This will facilitate the licensing of tour operators and for those building ecotourist resorts. I am Zanil Williams for the Government News Brief.
Guyana can expect great things in the public telecommunications sector in the new year. Gabriela Patram tells us more.
Minister of Public Telecommunications Catherine Yu says her ministry will work with all stakeholders to ensure 2017 is a transformational year. The minister adds that by the end of 2017, the passport office will be completely digitized. Persons will only have to visit the office when it's time to collect their travel document or if they need to take a photograph.
The other key thing we're looking at is expanding our broadband and internet access out of the coastal area into some of our rural areas, especially our hinterland, poor and rural communities.
The Telecommunications Minister says the ministry is proposing to hold another hackathon for 2017. This follows the success of the recently concluded one at the Arthur Chung Convention Center. Minister Hughes had functioned previously as Tourism Minister from May 2015 to early 2016.
We had a phenomenal amount of people. We had close to 27,000 Guyanese in the diaspora that came home in the month of May alone. And, you know, I got a call. I remember getting a call from a small restaurant owner that said to me, Minister, if people say the way I make money this month, they lie. And so for me, that was one of the pluses. Restaurants were full, the taxi services were full, everybody had a good time. And although we had criticisms about building the Jubilee Park, you know, the year before, when we had our inauguration at the stadium, we could only accommodate upwards of 5,000 people. We were able to fit 30-something thousand people into that location. And so there were more Guyanese that were able to be there and to enjoy that golden arrowhead, that giant, beautiful flag being raised.
Minister Hughes says that she has a great job and is looking forward for Budget 2017 and the year ahead. For the Government News Brief, I'm Gabriela Patram.
Farmers are moving towards the use of biostimulants for cassava production in an effort to create a sustainable local cassava market. More in this report.
The use of biostimulants is being promoted to increase cassava crop production. Based on research and tests carried out, the National Agricultural Research and Extension Institute NARI is moving towards implementing the use of this chemical that will allow for greater crop yields and quality. Research Assistant Premdat Beecham explains.
One of the work that we're doing is the utilization of improved farming technologies. That's the utilization of irrigation system, fertilization, and the use of biostimulants for crop production. Based on results obtained, that's the preliminary results, it has been proven that the use of biostimulants has increased crop production, that's cassava, more than 45%. So this is encouraging signs, especially for farmers, because you can utilize the same plot of land and ensure that you get a higher yield for cassava.
A number of pilot projects have been executed into the expansion of cassava production. The NARI official adds that it has been recognized that there is a demand for cassava flour and efforts are being made to explore this. Additionally, he adds that farmers can benefit locally by supplying chip factories with cassava for chip production. This will be in keeping with the Ministry of Agriculture's campaign to eat what you grow and grow what you eat. Beecham says that this will save the country and its people money and will improve overall health and well-being of citizens.
We have quite a lot of products that we can get from cassava, especially we had work with FAO in terms of the utilization of grated cassava for bread making. And we did some tests with the 20 and 30% of the grated cassava in bread, and it came out very successful.
The government is working with other member states to diversify their country's local produce, which would eventually reduce the region's food import bill. CARICOM's food import bill is currently valued at more than $4 billion annually. Guyana's farmers can contribute to regional food security by increasing agricultural output with the exploration of cassava production and the use of biostimulants. For the Government News Brief, I am Delicia Haynes.
Remember, November is National Foster Care Month. The month is being observed under the theme, Be Part of a Rewarding Experience, Foster a Child in Need of Care Today. This month is set aside to acknowledge foster parents, family members, volunteers, mentors, policymakers, child welfare professionals, and other members of the community who help children and youth in foster care find permanent homes and connections. Statistics reveal that there are currently over 600 children in residential care, and most of these children would be better off in family-based care. The Social Protection Ministry notes that the foster care offers continued family-based care support, guidance, and love to a child who has to be separated from his or her biological family. But it is a temporary arrangement until the child can safely be returned home. The ministry is hosting a number of activities during this month to encourage more persons to open up their homes and hearts and take a child who is in need of alternative care. We have come to the end of this edition of the Government News Brief. The details of these and other stories can be found on GENA's website. You can also visit and like our Facebook page so you can be informed as the news unfolds. Do join us again on Monday for another edition of the Government News Brief. I am Renetta LaFleur. Do have a great weekend.